Hi, sir. Sir, of course, SWS conducted a survey just before the committee went into a vote on ABS-CBN. Now, just to do a quick recap before we get to the meat of the discussion, 76% more or less agreed in varying degrees. Merong strongly, merong somewhat agree that Congress should renew the franchise. And then 13 disagreed to varying degrees. So that was a 62% net thereabouts. Sir, if I may just ask you first, siyempre importante po sa mga tao, what was the question, how was the question worded, and what was the question asked, and what the findings were?
Well, the question is stated right there in our report. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't have it in my head, but it's simply, what do you think about not renewing the franchise of ABS-CBN? Are you in favor or against? And this is very clearly in favor. There's nothing special about the wording.
Yes, sir. Well, sir, I ask about the wording of the question because some people who are not that familiar with with surveys and how surveys are done may ask why in particular was the question worded in this way? Congress should renew the franchise so that it can broadcast its programs again.
Yeah, that's an agree-disagree type of statement.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So they could agree strongly, they could agree somewhat, they could not, they could stand on the fence. Now, I'm not sure. They could disagree, and they could strongly disagree. So they have 5 choices. Mm-hmm. That's a balanced choice.
Okay.
That's normal.
May mga nagtatanong din about the timing of the survey. Sabi nila mas maganda daw siguro kung medyo maaga sanang nakuha yon dahil sa resulta.
We cannot.
Did you think about taking it earlier? Did you consider taking that kind of survey earlier?
It's a general survey, and it's not particularly regarding ABS-CBN, but that's one of the big issues. So we thought of that particular issue because that's our own question. That's nobody's question. What the survey is really for is for tomorrow. Because tomorrow there's going to be a conference sponsored by Strat-based Albert Del Rosario Institute. And that's what we were really timing it for, to have new results for tomorrow having to do with China. Now, we were thinking that ABS-CBN might not be an issue yet, but na-rush sa Congress, so we said we cannot, hold this anymore. So itong naging first release natin.
Sir, ako may question before we get deeper and himayin natin yung results. I do have a question about the methodology as well and gathering the data. I imagine in the time of COVID, it's much harder to do field work. It's much harder to personally get enough. Yep. What was the methodology here? What was the adjustment, and does that affect the margin of error?
That's in our technical report, right? which is in the website, and this is the second time we've done it. So the first technical report is already there. It was for last May. And I'm sorry if you didn't read it, the first technical report. But it's the same methodology, right? So it's been there already for 2 months, the first methodology. So what this is, it's a probability survey based on phone numbers that we collected from 2017 to 2019 from our ordinary probability surveys. We went out there and surveyed all these people face to face, but at the same time we asked their permission to call them again later, if they would be willing to do that. And in the course of that, we were able to collect 30,000 phone numbers of people who agreed that they would be willing to be surveyed again. But they were originally chosen by probability. So that's why we're very confident that this is a good sample of the country. And as we As we called them, we kept on monitoring where the responses were coming from, and they are a very balanced geographical sample, and that sample, geography, is also in our technical report. It's already there for technical report number 1 for our May survey, and it's there again for the July survey. They're not exactly the same because everything is voluntary. All right, so but the sample size is decent. It's 1,500. Our normal is 1,200. So we feel confident about this. Actually, we challenge anybody to do their own probability-based surveys.
Okay, given all of that, let's get into the insights that we can get from the survey. As we've already reported, 3 out of 4 Filipinos said they believe that Congress should have renewed the franchise of ABS-CBN.
When we asked the question, July 3 to 6, nobody knew yet what Congress would do. So this is a proposition. Huh?
Yes, sir. Okay, yes, sir. Sir, I'd like to ask you lang to explain to us in greater detail yung methodology. If you remember, I asked you the question about how the questions are formulated. Of course, there is a system in certain taking surveys where when you formulate the questions, you have to do it very carefully. Pero kasi at this age where people are very used to using the word biased, people might, and I say might, people might misconstrue the wording of the question to have a particular bias. Kasi one question po is, siyempre, is yung Congress should renew the franchise so that it can broadcast its programs again. The other is ang hindi pag-renew ng Kongreso ng prangkisa ng ABS-CBN ay isang malaking dagok sa kalayaan ng pamamahayag. Tell us po how the methodology, how questions are formulated in surveys.
Well, what's most important is that you have a balanced choice of answers. They're not more favorable or more unfavorable. That's why they should be symmetric. Symmetric. We also like a middle ground so that people can, they're not sure. They're not forced to be on one side or the other side. So if we can, we have these are 5-point scales, for example, 2 favorable, 2 unfavorable, and 1 in the middle.
And 1 undecided.
You have to have, of course, you have to choose a position as to whether it's going to be affirmative or negative.
Yes, sir.
You have to choose one. If you're going to be worried about that, then you'll have to do an experiment yet, and try it affirmative one way and negative the other way, and mix it up together. That's too complicated, I would say, but there's a way of doing that. But the best way to check for bias is to look at the question yourself and see, is that fair or not fair? And if you say it is not fair, well, you explain why that is. But the best thing of all is to go and do your own poll. This is what we favor. We favor competition. We favor everybody going out there and doing it yourself. But the important thing here is don't let the people come to you. You choose who they should be at random. You can't say that, everybody called me and give me your answers. Then you're going to have the bias of the people answering you.